time here to talk about rosé today. We're going to do a little quick 60 to 120 second primer on rosé. So first thing we're just going to talk about really quickly is sort of the basics. This is a very traditional style rosé from Provence. In Provence, they generally do grapes. Rosé usually comes from red wine grapes that are made in a white wine style, meaning instead of making the wines where bring the grapes in, just crack the grape skins open and then let them soak over the course of days, weeks, etc. You smash them and make them the way you make with white wine. Just make juice out of these grapes, and thus you get this kind of pale, pinkish color. In addition, there's various styles of this. A lot of times you'll see Provence-style rosés with much lighter hues, which almost look like white wines, and those are often considered to be like the better aperitifs, the more sort of the more expensive styles. That said, a lot of times like people shy away from those because they do like that sort of fun pinkish color. The next up is another concept with rosé is that we see a lot more in the United States are darker colored rosés, and often we use different grape varietals. Of course, back in the day, White Zinfandel was the dominant thing that we used to do here. And White Zinfandel historically was made in a sweeter style, meaning that they arrested fermentation, stopped the fermentation earlier, preserving the sugars and making this sort of cocktail kind of style white wine that was in a pink color. These days we don't do that anymore as often. I mean, it still is a thing. You will still see these like inexpensive style White Zinfandels out in the world, but generally not. Guests especially here in San Francisco like our stuff dry. We get it. But in California, we have a tendency to do a lot more different varietals other than Grenache, Cinsault, Carignan, which are sort of the benchmark styles in Provence. And we'll mix it up and do things like rosés of Pinot Noir, which we do see in France as well, like in parts of Loire and in Champagne and Burgundy. But in California, we do them dark. You do see them a lot more often, a little bit more skin contact, a little bit more color to them. And and so rosé of Pinot Noir is always like it often has a little bit more of a custard-like quality, and also can be, there's just like a little bit more richness to it because the skins leach really quickly. So you often get like you get a little bit more skin contact even without trying. Like that's just what happens. The juice color just kind of gets leached in there. So last but not least, what to do with rosé? We here at Rresolute, we really love rosés that, that are aperitif styles. We want them to be fresh, not overly complicated, but also interesting enough to keep you guys here, and also for maximum enjoyment, which I think really comes when the wine allows for a sipping quality and otherwise. So, anyways, I really do like rosés as a aperitif wine, like I mentioned. Also for something like with salads, early dishes, as well as like light pastas, things along those lines. And that's all I have to say for the time being. Thank you for watching my first little video here. Cheers.